All right, let's just jump right in. When you hear the word flirting, your mind probably goes straight to one thing, right? Dating, romance, maybe even something a little manipulative. But what if that whole way of thinking is just wrong? What if what we call flirting is actually a super high-level skill, a kind of real-time intelligence test that we're using all the time, everywhere from the boardroom to family dinners? So for this explainer, we're going to look at flirting like an engineer would look at a piece of code. We're going to strip away all the emotional baggage and just focus on the system that's running underneath. This isn't about pickup lines. It's about a fundamental skill in communication that is way more important than you think. So let's get this reframe front and center. On one hand, you have the common view. Flirting is all about romance. But for our purposes, we're shifting our entire perspective. We're going to treat it as a technical skill, a competency, really, in understanding the hidden structure of a conversation. And this skill, it's so much bigger than just a tool for dating. It's a way to test for social and intellectual compatibility in pretty much any situation you can think of. It's all about understanding conversations that are happening on multiple levels at the exact same time. Okay, so the key idea here is what we'll call multi-layer signaling. You see, most of our daily chatter is pretty single track. It's procedural. Can you pass the salt? Yep. But the really sophisticated interactions, they are not like that at all. They run on two parallel channels simultaneously. And this whole two-channel system, it really all boils down to one crucial difference. The difference between what's literally being said out loud and what's actually being communicated underneath it all. So let's break down these two layers, the surface and the structural. Let's start with the surface layer. This is just the literal words you're saying, and here's the key. This layer has to be a little boring, totally neutral. That's your safety net. Meanwhile, you have the structural layer. This is where the real action is happening. Your tone of voice, your eye contact, the timing of your response, your use of ambiguity, this is where the real conversation is. And this is just a perfect illustration of what we call plausible deniability. The surface layer is so mundane, so boring, that you can always retreat back to it. I mean, the words themselves are totally innocent, right? You could literally defend them in court. That boredom, it's not a bug, my friend. It's a feature. It's what makes the whole system safe to use. Which leads us to this really cool idea, the Schrodinger's complement. It's a statement that's intentionally built to be ambiguous. Its real meaning, is it just a plain observation or is it a bid for a connection? Well, that meaning isn't even decided until the other person reacts to it. You're sending out a signal where the meaning is literally co-created in real time. So why? Why go through all this trouble? Why is it so complex? Well, it's all about strategy. This whole system is designed to let us test for alignment, to sort of, calibrate our connection with someone without ever risking a total social meltdown. It's all about distributing the risk. But, this begs the most obvious question, right? If you want to know if someone gets you or if there's a spark, why on earth wouldn't you just ask them directly? Well, because asking directly is incredibly high risk. Think about it. It forces a black or white, yes or no answer. And getting a no can be seriously humiliating. It can just break the social vibe completely. A layered signal, on the other hand, is super low risk. It lets you gracefully back away if the signal isn't returned, and it preserves the dignity of everyone involved. So here's how it works in practice. First, you send a small, totally deniable signal on that structural layer. Maybe you hold eye contact just a fraction of a second too long. Then you analyze the response. Do they reciprocate? If they don't, you just retreat right back to that safe, boring surface layer. No harm, no foul. No one loses face. It's this brilliant built-in escape hatch. And this is where it all clicks into place. This entire back and forth of sending and receiving these layered signals, it isn't just about being smooth or socially graceful. It is a real-time intelligence test. You are actively measuring a key cognitive ability in the other person. And the thing you're testing for, we can call it subtext bandwidth. It's basically a person's ability to process complex, layered information on the fly. Can they read between the lines? Do they understand that the literal words are only, half the story? This is honestly my favorite way to think about it. When you send out a witty, ambiguous comment, what you're really doing is checking the Wi-Fi signal between your brain and theirs. You're pinging them to test the speed and the quality of the connection. Let's look at how this plays out in, say, a business setting. Imagine in a negotiation, someone says, well, officially, I can't go any lower on the price. Now, someone with low bandwidth, they only hear the literal words. For them, the conversation just stops. Dead end.
But someone with high bandwidth, they hear the real message on that structural layer. Okay, so let's talk about some other ways we can make this deal work. You're literally filtering for people who can handle complexity.
Okay, but here's the paradox that holds this whole system together. We've been talking about all this fluid, playful, ambiguous communication. But believe it or not, none of it is possible without a foundation that is incredibly rigid and totally predictable.
So what is it? What's the one strict, almost formal rule that actually gives us the permission, the safety, to be so creative and playful in how we talk to each other? The answer is manners. Just plain old formal politeness. I know it seems like the total opposite of flirting, but it's actually the essential ingredient that makes it all work. And here's why that is. Manners create a baseline of safety and trust. Without that safety net, ambiguity isn't playful at all. It feels like a threat. If I don't trust you, your ambiguous comment feels aggressive. But with that baseline of safety that manners provides, that exact same ambiguous comment can now be seen as play. Manners are the rule book that makes the game possible. So let's wrap this all up. The big takeaway here is to stop thinking about this as some niche dating trick and start seeing it for what it is, a fundamental communication skill, a kind of structural fluency that you already have and that you use every single day.
Seriously, think about it. Every single time you use sarcasm or irony, or you make a really specific in-joke with a group of friends, what are you really doing? You're sending out a layered signal. You're scanning the room to see who's on your frequency, who has the bandwidth to catch the subtext. And that's really the final reframe. Being good at flirting isn't a personality contest. It doesn't mean you're charming or good-looking. It means you are structurally fluent. You're a good architect of meaning. It's a mechanical skill, and it is absolutely learnable. So I'll leave you with this. The next time you drop a dry, witty remark into a conversation, just for a second, pay attention to what's really going on. You're not just trying to be clever. You're running a diagnostic. You are testing the network. In the broadest sense of the word, you're flirting. And the real question is, who's flirting back?